Hey Mixers, welcome back to another WNBA player props video. It feels really good to say that. I've missed a couple of WNBA slates, and then, they didn't give us props for that last slate early enough for me to be able to really look at them. But obviously, a lot of those games were one-sided, so I don't feel too bad missing out on that. But we do have the playoff slate coming up on Sunday. Unfortunately, I will be watching football most of the day. I will try to check in on the WNBA games or at least watch the score updates. But let's jump in and give away some cash because I told you if our bonus bets hit, we were giving away some cash, and they did hit. And we had more entries than we've ever had in the contest. So let's jump in and give that away. All right, so let's go ahead and spin this wheel here. There are a lot of you guys, but once we get to 1,000 subscribers, if you guys can help me get to 1,000 subscribers, then I will start giving away 2 cash prizes on all the videos, depending on how many people comment. I don't know how yet I'm going to do that, but I will give away more prizes because there are a lot of you, and I do appreciate the support. Looks like we have at RomanVest2841. He said, "Good luck, everyone." So you have not won before, so please reach out to me on X or on Twitter. I mean, not on X or Twitter, on X or on Instagram, or email me at elixirmixersllc@gmail.com, and I will get that to you. All right, guys, jumping into the recap, we had an incredible day in the WNBA. I did not give you any best bets, but all of the bets that I did give you all hit pretty much, including all of my game leans and totals and spreads. So Nneka Ogwumike over 5.5 rebounds. She did have 8. Kelsey Mitchell over 14.5 points. She had 18. And then I went 4-1 on the money lines, bringing us up to an 87.5% hit rate on those. One of those was an underdog, I believe. Yes, it was the Fever was an underdog. So we would have won some plus money on that if I had actually placed that bet. And then the spreads were 3-2. The totals were 3-2. They all went under, guys. 5 unders on the 5-game slate. Totally crazy. Bonus bets, both of those did hit easily. Sony Citron over 1.5 3-pointers. She had 3. And Satu Sabali over 1.5 3-pointers. She had 4. Now, we need to jump into today's slate, which is a big playoff slate. And I want to warn you guys that taking big swings in the playoffs when we haven't seen anything yet is kind of risky. I love taking risks, so I am going to take some swings on this one. But you guys can or don't have to. Just don't bet more than you can afford to lose. Just expect to lose every single one of your bets. So you have to be careful. So the first one here is going to be the Valkyries at the Lynx. The Lynx have won 4-0 straight up in the regular season against this against this Valkyries team. The totals in California have been 161 and 150. The totals in Minnesota have been 153 and 125. The total in this game is 147.5. That seems a bit low to me, even though they did just barely play and go under this number. They were able to go over this number in the regular season in Minnesota. It's such a low number. I have to take the over. It's the playoffs. They're going to be playing. Whether that means more defense or more offense, I think probably both. But I have to take an over on that tiny low line. Now, remember, I am not in a state where I can actually bet these, so these are just my leans on the games. I will lean towards the Lynx. They are 4-0, and they are playing at home, and they are fierce at home, so I will take the Lynx. I do think the Lynx might win this one in 2. Unfortunately, but I think it's impressive as hell that the Valkyries even got to the playoffs as an expansion team. Natalie Nakase deserves Coach of the Year. She probably won't get it since she's going to be a first-round exit in the playoffs, but I think she deserves it. And then I will take the Valkyries plus 13 because if this is going to be a low-scoring game, I don't see how they get blown out by more than 13, even though it did just happen. The spreads in California were 11-6. The spreads in Minnesota were 11-19. So in Minnesota, the spreads tended to be a little bit higher between these two teams. But I'm discounting what just barely happened in the last game. I'm hoping Tiffany Hayes comes back and plays for this Valkyries team and really rejuvenates them. We know Xanda Lucini will be back for this one. All right, the next one here is the Fever at the Dream. They have both won at home and 1 away. So the Fever have 2 wins, 1 at home, 1 away. The Dream have 2 wins, 1 at home, 1 away in this series in the regular season. The totals in Atlanta, which is where they're playing the game, have been 157 and 135. Total for this game is 158.5, so it's higher than both of those. Guys, we're in the playoffs, so we got to go over. We got to reverse that all unders trend from the other day when none of the games really mattered much to all overs. Well, I don't know about all overs, but I'm going to lean all over probably in all of these games here. And then the spreads in Atlanta have been 5 and 19. So when the Fever won, it was 5, I believe. Pretty sure. So I am going to take the Fever plus 7.5. If they win, it will be close. And then I have to lean on the Fever money line because look at that plus money. Plus 275 for the Fever to win in Atlanta, which they've already done once this season. I have to take that. I mean, if I could bet on that, I would bet on that because that money is worth it. I love a big underdog like that, and I'm a sucker for it. You miss a lot of them, obviously. They're not favored to hit, but when you do hit them, it makes up for a couple that you lost. All right, the next one here, Liberty at the Mercury. The Mercury are 3-1 straight up for the regular season. And the Liberty have not won in Phoenix, where this game is being played. So point that out. But also, the Liberty are a whole different team when it comes to the playoffs than they are in the regular season, and they're all healthy. So, and that can be pretty scary when the Liberty are all healthy and firing on all cylinders. Obviously, they won the championship last year. So the totals in Phoenix have been 197 and 143. Total in this game is 164.5. I will lean over on that. And then the spreads have been 15 and 17 in Phoenix. So the Mercury have just blown them out, basically. So I will take the Mercury plus 1.5. They're the underdogs here. And the Mercury on the money line for that plus money as well, even though I do think the Liberty are going to really push this one and could easily win this game. So I would probably honestly stay away from this game if I was betting with my own cents and dollars here. But the stats do support the Mercury winning this one. All right, the Storm at the Aces. This is similar to the Fever in Atlanta, where the Storm have won one in Las Vegas, one in Seattle. The Aces have won one in Las Vegas, one in Seattle. But what that doesn't tell you is that the Storm won twice in a row early in the season. The Aces won twice in a row late in the season. We all know the Storm were playing much better in the early part of the season. The Aces were playing like crap. And then the Aces have been on fire over the second part of this season. Mainly like the last third of the season, they've been completely on fire. So yeah, I don't know how the Aces don't come away with this one. We will take them on the money line. The totals in Las Vegas have been high, 173, 176. So why are we getting 159.5? Smash that. Unless the Storm just get completely blown out, which has not happened in Las Vegas. The spreads have been 7 and 4. I don't know how they don't go over this line. This line is crazy. I would put money on that if I could, over 159.5. I will take the Aces on the spread, minus 6.5, just because I kind of do expect A'ja Wilson to come out swinging in this one. And I don't know how the Storm keep up with them because I don't like their coach, and their team has been playing like crap. They didn't really deserve to make the playoffs. All right, let's get into the player props. So I have Tiffany Hayes here right off the bat. She might not even play, but you know I love Tiffany Hayes. We've cashed so many slips on Tiffany Hayes this year. I'm going to take her over 9.5 points in this away game. She's only over 58% of the time in away games, but she did have 23 against the Lynx in Minnesota. So that's pretty impressive. She did only have 9 the other game against the Lynx, which was in California. So, you know, mixed bag here on the stats. She might not even play. I also don't mind the PRA at 15.5. We're not getting a rebounds and assist line for her just yet, but we are getting a PRA line on some apps. So either 9.5 points or 15.5 PRA. Love them both, obviously, if she even plays. I think there is a scenario here where she does not play. The Valkyries have an embarrassing loss to the Lynx, and then the Lynx come to California. Tiffany Hayes does play, and they beat the pants off the Lynx, and this goes to a 3-game series, and then the Lynx will beat them in that 3rd game, in my opinion. So if that's possible, they might save Tiffany Hayes for that home game. I don't know. I don't know what the coaches are thinking. Obviously, if it's a legit injury, she can't play. But if it's like she could play or she couldn't play, I don't know if they'll hold her back or not. I guess we'll find out. Brianna Jones at home, right? We know Brianna Jones at home. You bet her at home. She's over 77% of the time at home, over 20.5 points rebounds. She had 26 and 31 in 2 head-to-heads at home, and she had 32 and 9 in 2 head-to-heads away with the Fever. So she was able to hit this 3 out of the 4 matchups with the Fever, including 1 time away. I don't know how we get away from this here. You know, Ryan Howard and Alicia Gray are going to get theirs, but they do not have a good scoring matchup, you know, as far as like where they take their shots. Brianna Jones does, you know, so does Brittany Griner. And Brianna Jones just is a home warrior. So I think we have to take her here, and that's what I'm going to do. Natasha Howard over 18.5 points rebounds. Why am I taking this? Well, a couple of reasons. So first of all, Kelsey Mitchell doesn't have a good scoring matchup against the Dream. Aaliyah Boston has a decent scoring matchup against the Dream, but she has not performed well against the Dream, especially in away games. Natasha Howard, on the other hand, I'll give you one guess at what the away games were in this graph. Yep, the two big green ones in the middle, those were the away games. The two on the outside, the two red ones, those were the home games. So Natasha Howard does play a little better away. We're going to take her over 18.5 points rebounds. She's only over 52% of the time in most of her away game. Well, like all of her away games on the season, but she went way over this line into away games specifically against this Atlanta Dream team. So I'm going to roll with the stats on this one. And Natasha Howard could easily burn us, but I feel good about the stats here. Satu Sabally over 1.5 3-pointers made. You could also take her points line at 15.5. I think either one of those is just fine. She did have 7 and 3 in 2 head-to-heads with the Liberty at home. She did not get a single 3-pointer in the 2 head-to-heads against the Liberty in New York. So that's something to consider. I do think Alyssa Thomas is going to have a problem with Breanna Stewart. I think Breanna Stewart is going to be one of the only people down low that will actually challenge Alyssa Thomas. And so I think Alyssa Thomas will be assisting a bit more and not scoring as much. And that means Satu Sabally and Kalia Copper are probably going to get their opportunities here. All right, Natasha Cloud, the postseason beast, the playoff princess. I don't know what to call her, but she's just been great in the postseason, and so I want to have something on her. Over 14.5 points and assists is where I ended up. I looked at the over 9.5 points as well, like them both, but I ended up on the points and assists because, you know, if she ends up having a crazy assist game where she assists like 8 or 9 times and then puts up like 6 points herself, then I don't want to miss out on that. So I'm going in on the combo line. She has gone over this line against the Mercury 3 out of the 4 games that they've played. So that's pretty good from a stats perspective. Obviously, she could easily miss this if either Sabrina, Jonquil Jones, Breanna Stewart, someone just starts scoring a ton of points and that person gets fed. But hopefully they're getting fed by Natasha Cloud and she at least hits us on our assists here. So that's why I like this combo line. I personally am leaning towards Breanna Stewart having the great game scoring-wise, and Natasha Cloud and Sabrina assisting quite a lot in this game. But I think Natasha Cloud still puts up a few points and gets hers. All right, Skylar Diggins over 5.5 assists. I was very, very tempted to go points and assists. The last time Skylar Diggins played the Aces, we took points and assists against the Aces, and Skylar had like 6 assists, I believe. Yep, 6 assists. Guess how many points? 0. Do you guys remember that 0 that Skylar put up for us when we took her points and assists? Yeah, so I won't be doing that again, even though I think she has a great scoring matchup, and she is a road warrior. The problem is, if she starts off shooting cold, you know, the team has no problem with her just passing the ball off to somebody else. So she is not going to keep taking her shots if she's cold. Alicia Gray on the Dream, if she's cold, doesn't matter. She'll just keep shooting. So she'll take 20 shots and make 3 of them. Doesn't matter. Alicia Gray will shoot no matter what. Skylar Diggins will not. If she's cold, she will pass. So that is why I want her assists here. She's over 64% of the time. She had 6 and 6 in 2 away games against the Aces, and she had 8 and 5 in 2 home games against the Aces. So she's gone over 3 out of the 4 times, head-to-head, barely in the 2 away games, but I got to take her here. You're also going to hate this one, probably. I just told you we got to take a break from Gabby Williams. But hey, we took a break. Now it's the playoffs, baby. So we're going back to her. Over 9.5 points. She has hit this 100% of the time against the Aces, and she has an incredible scoring matchup. Problem is Brittany Sykes has that same incredible scoring matchup because they take the same shots, like from the mid-range mainly. And Brittany Sykes does shoot a little bit more under the hoop as well. But Gabby Williams has such a good matchup here. It's just, will she get the shot attempts? Because they have not been going to her. So this last game with the Aces on August 8th, Brittany Sykes did play on that game. Brittany Sykes and Gabby Williams both went over their points lines in that game against the Aces. So I'm rolling with it, guys. You don't have to follow me on it. All right, Alyssa Thomas, this is just a lean because it is an altered line, sort of. So Alyssa Thomas, her assist line is at 9.5 most everywhere, and it's juiced under. So what do I do? You guys should know by now. I go straight to Boom Fantasy and I see, hey, what will you give me for 8.5? And they are giving me 1.62. That's decent. 1.65 is my cutoff for regular line bets, best bets. So this will be just a lean, but I do think she can get us to 9, maybe even 10 assists here. If you want to drop it even lower to like 6.5 probably for a Goblin line, I think you could do that as well. But I do think she's going to get tied up with Brianna Stewart down low. Brianna Stewart's arms they're incredibly long. She can extend, like she's so tall. So I just think she's going to give Alyssa Thomas trouble scoring. And so Alyssa Thomas is going to have to pop it out to somebody else. So that's just what I'm thinking. That's how I'm reading the game. All right, next lean here is Jewell Loyd over 9.5 points at home versus the Storm. She's over 100% of the time against the Storm, barely in 2 of the games, but she is over 64% of the time on the season in home games. Now, this could just be the Asia show where Asia puts up 50 points and nobody else gets anything. I did, by the way, I looked at Chelsea Gray's assists. They're way too high, but I think she can go over it. Jackie Young's lines are also really high. So this is just a lean because Jewell Loyd is not reliable. She's not in the starting lineup. And, 3-pointers against the Storm, not really how you score against the Storm. You score in the paint and the mid-range, which is Asia's spot here. But I do think Jewell Loyd is going to take those shots. So she's going to get 3, 4, maybe 5 3-point attempts. Whether they go in or not, who knows? But I think that we can get a couple of those from her and then maybe a couple other shots from her as well for 2-pointers. This one's risky. That's why it's just a lean. All right, bonus bet. Jordan Canada over 5.5 assists. This one is plus money. Now, we could reduce this to 4.5 and just roll with that, but they're not giving me a great payoff for that. It's only 1.45. So I'd rather just take the plus money and say, hey, I think she has 10. So she's over 71% of the time at home. She did have 5 in a head-to-head and 8 at home against the Fever and 8 in an away head-to-head. So she has not hit this line at home against the Fever. And the Fever in general limit assists, especially in the first part of the year. They were limiting assists. So they don't give up a lot of assists. But Jordan Canada is like an elite assister, right? She's tiny and she's running around the court, grabbing the ball and throwing it to everybody. So I do like her here. One little side note, I don't like Naz Hillman in this spot. So I don't like her points. I don't like her rebounds. I don't like Naz Hillman to be involved in this first game, to the extent that she has been recently. I think that they've been resting the starters a little bit in preparation for the playoffs. They've been playing Naz Hillman a bit more, and that doesn't happen here. I think that a lot of these teams are going to come into the playoffs playing their starters big minutes, and that's what it's going to be. So these side players, I don't think are going to see a lot of action here. And then as the teams make adjustments to their opponents, we might see a little bit more action for those periphery players. That could be completely wrong, but that's just what I'm thinking. All right, players to watch. So Nafisa Collier points, love it. Asia Wilson points, love it. But hey, they're probably going to be promos. Let's face it. So I'd rather take a lower line with the promo than take the regular points line now. So I'm going to wait. I will have something on Nafisa Collier points and Asia points. If I end up just betting the regular line on game day, then that's what I'll do. But I want to wait and see if we can get a promo here. Nneka Ogwumike rebounds. She's in a smash spot for rebounds. She's gone over against the Aces 100% of the time, and she's better in general in away games with her rebounds. The problem here is her normal line is 6.5. They put it at 7.5. So I need to take a step back. I need to think about this. I'm already going to have a lot of action on this day. And so this might be one that I lower to like 4.5, 5.5, or one that I slip in last minute, if I need something to go with the promo. And then Erica Wheeler, three-pointer. She's not in a good three-pointer matchup, but she is going to take 4 or 5 attempts. So whether she hits them or not, it's kind of like the Jewel Lloyd bet. It's the same thing. Both of them are at 9.5 points. Both of them shoot a lot of three-pointers. But Erica Wheeler, I think, is a better three-pointer shooter. I mean, I wouldn't say she's better. I just think that the Storm set her up a little bit better than Jewel Lloyd's attempts aren't always the cleanest. So we'll just see. But those are some players to watch. Here is the best bet summary and the lean summary. I'm not going to read through all of these. You can take a screenshot. But be sure to let me know. Just pick 2 of these for the comments for the cash prize giveaway. Two best bets that you think are going to hit. And if they do, then you will be in the running for that cash prize giveaway. And then the bonus bet here, Jordan Canada over 5.5 assists. That is the plus money bet that we are rolling with. I would love to hear from you guys. I'm excited to be making another WNBA video. I'm excited for the playoffs to start and see where those take us. I also have posted a lot of football content, so if you have any interest at all, even if you don't, just go watch the video, like it, and comment on it, and you might win some free money. All right, thanks, guys.